Yo. Hello, everyone. Some random geek in the chat. Let's get this party started.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show by an ultra-feminine, meek, shy, totally unopinionated trans woman that seeks to listen to both sides and does not make fun of TERFs. You've listened to the show, right? You still want me to say this? Okay. Here's your host, Marty Abernathy.
Hey, everybody. Good evening. For some stupid reason, I don't hear myself as well as usual, but what are you going to do? I got these headphones on. I think it's the cans. We're going to say it's the cans. We're going to pretend it's the cans until somebody tells me anything different. By the way, I have to find a way for me when I open this up that it toggles word wrap all together, because then I have to read off the edge of the paper. Anyways, who uses paper anymore? Welcome to the show, everyone. Oh, and
we're streaming live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Mixer, and Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook by searching for Tea Party Podcast. That's the letter T followed by Party Podcast, all one word. And on Twitter and Instagram at Marty Abernathy. You can financially support the show by making a one-time donation by going to trans.fm or by becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/Marty Abernathy. That's MartyAbernathy.
So, how's everybody doing tonight? I hope you're having a great Saturday night. I am. I actually was going to, pay. M.A. Melby in the chat says, old people use paper. Well, I ain't young. Nope. I need to have a red light on so I can see which camera is. So I can talk into whichever camera I'm on. I tend to look at the opposite one. So there's so much that I want to talk about tonight. One of the things I want to talk about, I didn't even have time to put into the show. And that is the fact that TERFs are up in arms tonight. They're up in arms because of the UK census. Now, I don't know if they're really ignorant, or it's kind of like how right-wing politicians are. They play stupid, but the people that they're playing stupid to is the people that they're talking to. They're going through their dog whistle to speak to these people's hate, essentially. Well, it may be afternoon, M.A. Melby. But it's 2100 GTM, or wait a minute, Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. And this is, I swear to God, this is my first one. Very nice. 1 p.m. in Washington State, and it's snowing. Shocker. But TERFs are very upset. They're very upset at what, you may ask? They are upset about the UK census. And they're upset about the UK census counting trans people. And it's really, really stupid for so many reasons. But I commented on this earlier today. And we're going to pop over into the green screen here. By the way, if you would like to be on the show, I can invite you personally. We can test out our little private chat room and with video. I'm not sure how it works because I haven't been able to test it yet. So if you want to help me test that, just tell me in chat and we can do that. So this is it. So this person is a pretty well-known TERF, Jane Claire Jones, but she wrote this in the Telegraph, which is a fairly big UK newspaper. It's very right-leaning, of course. Oh, that's my tea. I'm about ready to spill some more. And they have this boycott the census. It would be a grave mistake to stop collecting biological data in the census. And I said, number one, there's no biological data. You don't submit a blood sample when you have this done. You know? I mean, it's not like there's no test, nothing. And yeah. It's a census. Basically, it's self-reporting. So essentially, every trans woman is already going to be self-reporting as female. Because I to be honest with you, I didn't want to pay the Telegraph to read their nonsense. So I went to her website and actually read what she said about it. And she was talking about the quality of the data. It's absurd even from a statistical standpoint. According to a lot of figures, trans people in the UK are about 0.01%. I'm not a statistics major, but please explain to me how this 0.01%, even if, let's say, their health data totally skews biological women, which trans women are biological women, but cis women's data. How does that work when it's 0.01%? How does that skew the data so bad that it changes anything statistically? How does that work? I don't know. I honestly don't know. MAMLB in the chat says TERFs use science all the time as if science is on their side when it really, really isn't. Well, and it's funny too, because they tend to use science in the same way that flat earthers or young earth creationists use science. They only use it to prop up their point. It's not a search for truth. It's a search to back up their rhetoric. That's it. Because they will, it's like working with clay to a certain extent, because they'll mold that shit to fit whatever narrative they're selling. And they're going to boycott the census. That makes no sense. In so many different ways. it really is. What is accomplished if you boycott the census? You're not represented in governmental data. What does that do to women overall? Oh, it's just there's so many things about this that make no sense strategically, like as a protest. How does that work? Oh, it looks like U.S. Senate acquits former President Trump over his role in the riots. Shocker there. Well, and M.A. Melby in the chat says they don't care about women at all. And you just have to look at things like, well, Kathleen Stock. What did she call it? Collateral damage. Yeah, here you go. The only way to maintain social norm of sex-separated spaces is via checking of genitalia. Oh, sometimes females in those spaces will be missexed, and sometimes males in those spaces will not be perceived as such. We see the former as a regrettable cost that has to be balanced and is nonetheless smaller than the greater harms to females. I mean, they will throw anyone under the bus that doesn't agree with them. And I know that M.A. Melby in the chat knows this because they have been called a guy a lot or a trans person a lot because they stood up for trans people online. So I mean, it's just absurd. These people, it's an ideology. M.A. Melbourne in the chat says my male privilege is obvious. LMAO. Yeah. But these are the facts. This is literally what they're up to, you know? I mean, this is what they believe. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, how many people would be up for this? Just to make sure that they made sure that the trans people were in sex separated spaces. It's absurd. Anyways, there are so many things wrong with this. There's so many avenues that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't do anything for you in forms of a protest. It doesn't do anything for you in forms of with the census itself. If anything, if there are less cis women, then the more trans women are overrepresented. So a boycott of the census would be just strategically bad. It's a bad idea. Anyways, I'll delve into that a little bit more, I think, as time goes on, but I was just shocked at how basically they jump from one hot take to another that has no basis in fact. because trans women already are part of the census. That's just fact. Because, I mean, let's do this all together, folks. Let's just say online UK census. Let's look at it. Let's look at the actual form. Burr, burr, burr. We don't want an ad. We don't want to add. All right. No, we don't want to find our ancestors. Oh, I don't know where it's at. I think this is it. Where is the census? I want to find it because ultimately you're marking this yourself. So it's not something that you it's not something that it's a self-referral. Here we go. Download all. Let's see. Is it in English? If you see it, oh poo! I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do a slideshow. But it's literally you're filling it out yourself. So there's nothing that you can't already do. It's going to give them more information about were you born, how were you born, how did you identify at birth? Not identify. How are you? I keep how did the doctor identify you at birth? And how do you identify now? So literally what they are talking about would be helped if you sussed out the trans people in the census. So I mean, it's literally awful any way you look at it. It just doesn't make any sense anyways. What are we on to next? Oh, this one you've probably already heard, but the person that, and the thing is, this disappoints me a lot because Cara Dune, who was a Rebel Alliance shock trooper, was played by Gina Carano. And I loved The Mandalorian, but she made a few comments. She listed in her bio her pronouns as beep, bop, boop. And then in an Instagram story, she compared being a Republican today to being Jewish during the Holocaust. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even children. Yeah, what Republican has gotten beaten in the streets? Because history is edited, most people today don't realize to get to that point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the governments first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? Oh, go fuck yourself. I mean, we can sit there and go look at Trump supporters that were chasing and beating up Black Lives Matter supporters. It's just she's absurd. But Disney fired her, and her talent agency let her go. And everybody's calling this the canceling. I literally had somebody on Twitter say to me that that free speech. Let's see if I can find it. Actually, it's kind of it's kind of hilarious. Literally, they suggested that there be some law that protects the consequence of speech. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? It just, I just don't. You know what? I don't even know what to say when it comes to this because, but there is a shit take from Jonathan Chait. Oh, he's so fucking awful. I'll show you this. So he compares her being fired to McCarthyism. In the late 1940s and 50s, Hollywood studios, under the pressure of the right, promised they would not knowingly employ a communist. This blacklist eventually became notorious, especially in Hollywood. Who were they pressured from? Who were they pressured from? You don't fucking talk about that, do you? They were pressured by a senator. Someone that is part of the government. Is there anyone in this situation that is doing that? There is not. This is all led by PR. This is literally led by PR. And what you're saying is that this is a blacklist. It's not a blacklist because it's not McCarthyism. McCarthy was a senator. He had a list, and those people didn't work in Hollywood. Yes. But it was under pressure of politicians. There are no politicians in this. This is corporate America. This is HR policy. You know, you may not like, some random geek said, and some of them use their cars to run over BLM protesters, and that's absolutely the case. But it wasn't. Most of the violence that has come in the divisiveness of the Trump era came from people on the Trump side. And M.A. Melby in the chat said, it's my understanding that the picture is actually not a picture of Jewish people, but of Nazi sympathizers being beaten. There is a lot to unpack there, but like, really? That's the picture that they used? Well, of course. And that's what I mean. It's something that is, they're trying to make comparisons that aren't there. And he goes on to defend her, but the bottom line is, he says, if you think blacklisting is only bad if it targets its targets have sensible views, I have some bad news for you about communism. While some victims of the McCarthy era blacklist were liberals or progressives who refused to turn in the names of their colleagues, others were bona fide communists. Dalton Trumbo, a Hollywood writer who was blacklisted, then wrote under front names and whose stories told in a recent movie starring Bryan Cranston, following the Communist Party line in the Stalin era. I'm not sure what his fucking point there was. This is the beginning of the American concentration camp, he warned. I mean, I will say that there are people that are being used as, and this reminds me of the whole cancel culture thing, because honestly, cancel culture is mostly bullshit, but the people that it generally affects in reality are leftists. And you can look at because the majority of the BLM protesters were nonviolent, and there's been much more right-wing issues, problems. So it's absurd. It's just it's absurd, and it's stuff like this. This guy is just this is literally whataboutism, and someone that has a podium that doesn't want anybody else to have a podium, because this is what they don't like. They don't like the people speaking out and saying, this is bullshit. We don't like this. We're going to go elsewhere if you continue to have this person on your show. I mean, I'm not a big fan of capitalism, but you gotta love the irony in this. These motherfuckers will be the first one to cry, oh, the government needs to do something. Oh, wait. Weren't you saying 5 minutes ago that the government's too big? And if you think I'm kidding, have a look at this tweet. This is what somebody tweeted in our fucking discussion this morning. What we need is laws to protect people's right to be offensive. People should not be able to be fired for conduct that does not occur at work, in the work setting, period. How would that work? What would they have, like a equal, like a employment non-discrimination act for trolls? The whole thing. I mean, that's fucking absurd. Some random geek brought up a perfect point. Hell, gender reveal parties have done more property damage than BLM and Antifa protesters combined. Exactly. They started a fucking forest fire. By the way, I have a video for you guys. You guys that are here, I have a video for you, especially for you. Let's see if I can get this up. Oh God, this makes me laugh so fucking hard. All right, let's do this. Where am I? There I am. All right, let's bring up my video player. All right.
Just wanted to remind you about the upcoming Antifa meeting, where we will be discussing some itinerary sheet here. There's
a great itinerary, a lot of issues that need to be brought up. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be going to another Antifa meeting until we talk about when the fuck I'm going to get paid. Will George Soros be at this meeting so we can bring this up? Probably not, because he's never fucking there. But the amount of voter fraud I have committed and the amount of canned soup I have wasted by throwing at people, I believe I deserve a little bit more respect. I've been here for like 8-9 months now, and I have literally nothing to show for it yet. So in opposition of going to another Antifa meeting where nothing is going to happen, I say we put it up for a vote to unionize Antifa, because I'm not taking this anymore.
Oh dear, that made me laugh. Yeah, the tongue planted firmly in cheek there. You gotta love these people that are always Antifa paying George Soros paying you know, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, really? But there's people like my dad that'll be sitting at home in front of their TV And they'll buy it. They'll buy it because it's said on Fox News, and anything they see on Fox News, well, it's got to be true. Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah. But in other turf news, okay, unionizing Antifa is on the ticket. All those in favor. Well, that definitely would would we have the vote in Zuccotti Park? I don't know. Oh God, Jonathan Chait. Oh, I can't stand Jonathan Chait. Anyways, I did want to talk about another controversy that's coming up. I know that a lot of you are going to be upset by this. But midwives here in the UK are being told to say chest feeding instead of breastfeeding. Oh dear. Oh dear. Terfs and everyone are upset. Midwives in Brighton have been told they can replace the word breastfeeding with chest feeding and mother with mother or birthing parent as part of efforts to be more gender inclusive. Do you see the do you see the optimal thing there? It says fucking can. It doesn't say has to. Sorry, ma'am. We can't say breastfeeding. We got to say chest feeding because of those transgender people. Staff at Brighton and Sussex University hospitals, NHS Trust, have also been told that breast milk should be replaced by phrases such as human milk, breast/chest milk, or milk from the feeding mother or parent. Oh my God. Will humans survive this? Oh dear. Oh God. So they're making a big deal about this, and of course people are like, oh, this is gone too far. This has gone too far. It's unacceptable forcing people to say chest feeding. They're not forcing people. They're talking about if there's trans people, that they use inclusive language to make them feel like they exist. It is maddening. And this is even in the piece. Gender identity can be a source of oppression and health inequality, the publication reads. We are consciously using the words women and people together to make it clear that we are committed to working on addressing health inequalities for all those who use our services, some of which are not women and don't identify as women. Oh, God. It's a war on boobs. When will you all care about the war on boobs? I need to go into a Tucker Carlson / what was the jackass that was there in that position before him that would do the war on Christmas? God, Bill O'Reilly. Fuck. I do not miss that guy. But yeah, it's the war on boobs. We must fight this culture war on breast milk. Oh dear. Oh dear. Women are frequently disadvantaged. Oh, I already read that. It adds that biological essentialism, the belief that human nature, such as masculinity or femininity, is innate, and transphobia are currently present within elements of mainstream birth narratives and discourse. Kind of is. We strive to protect our trans and non-binary service users and healthcare professionals from additional persecution as the consequence of terminology changes, recognizing significant impact this can have on the psychological and emotional well-being. The publication says this isn't forcing anyone to say anything to anyone that is not trans. That's what the right-wing mouthpieces are trying to make this. That's what LBC is trying to do with this fucking headline. The piece itself is good if you read it. But if you just look at it and say, midwives told to say chest feeding, that isn't true. This is a suggestion about how to speak to trans patients, to trans men. And essentially what they want to do is for trans men to be not seen, not heard, not cared about, to make sure that they don't exist. I love this music, by the way. The music that's under me is Stream Beats, and it's from Harris Heller, and you can use his music. It's royalty free. I play it off of Spotify. And I love it, but that just had a sound. It sounded like a water heater with a pilot light coming on. Kind of freaked me out a little bit for a minute. So yeah, I mean, literally, that's what they're doing. They are trying to put up this clickbait headline to get people to say the right. Or this is what is it? This is I got it. This is political correctness gone mad. Oh dear. Oh dear. It's just crazy talk. I just want to see if I have any actual we can't say anything anymore. Oh. MAMLB in the chat says, I know, as someone who has breastfed, the people annoyed at inclusive language don't care lots about what breastfeeding parents go through. They don't care about anyone but themselves. This is all about saying, I'm not comfortable with you. I don't want to know that you exist. And it's just, in the media, it literally is just a kind of acceptable homophobia, because this is the same thing that happened in the UK in the 80s and the 90s to gay people. They've just flipped the narrative. They want to overturn what the family is. As if trans men aren't having babies right now. So yeah. It's absurd. Freaking absurd. Transaxual campaign, a group established in 2017 to fight transphobia, welcomed the decision. This is fantastic. Well done. Let's hope that more trusts follow suit. Everybody deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. So yeah. Absurd. Oh, by the way. The hits just keep on coming with this. I got to get this ready. Hold on. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to click on this link now. All right. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Joanna Cherry, an SNP MP, an SNP MP, compares her sacking from the SNP front bench. For you people in America, that just means she is in the cabinet, essentially. She was sacked because she tweeted her support for a TERF that got kicked off of Twitter for anti-Semitism and for transphobia. She's made comments that have been problematic in the past about trans people. And well, let's actually, I wasn't going to play this on the show, but let's look what the leader, Nicola Sturgeon, said about transphobia. This was right after Joanna Cherry was removed from the front bench.
This is a message from me as SNP leader on the issue of transphobia. I don't have much time for anything other than the fight against COVID right now, but on some days, silence is not an option. This message wasn't planned, it's not scripted, I haven't consulted with armies of advisors. That might be obvious, but what you're about to hear comes from my heart. Over the course of the day, I've heard reports of mainly young people in significant numbers leaving the SNP. I know many of you personally. I consider you friends. I've campaigned alongside you. You're a credit to our party and our country. It grieves me deeply that you've reached this conclusion after much soul searching, because you consider at this stage the SNP not to be a safe, tolerant or welcoming place for trans people. That's not acceptable to me. As SNP leader, I will do everything I can to change that impression and persuade all of you that the SNP is your party and that you should come home where you belong. Yes, we have differences of opinion on gender recognition reform. We should debate them openly and respectfully, but no debate can be a cover for transphobia. Trans people have as much right as any of us to be safe, secure and valued for who they are. Transphobia is wrong and we must treat it with the zero tolerance we treat racism or homophobia. Those are the principles I want to characterise the SNP.
Labour should listen to this, by the way. The Labour Party has a lot to say about anti-Semitism. They kicked out their previous leader, Jeremy Corbyn, removing the whip from him. So basically, he's a not lame duck, but he's outside the party, essentially. For what they claimed was anti-Semitism, he said that it was overdone and that it was being used as a political tool. And this just proves it, because Labor hasn't done jack shit. They have an MP that is near me in Canterbury in the southeast of England that literally had 2 of her staffers quit because of transphobia. They were lesbian. 2 lesbians quit her office because she's transphobic. She's made transphobic statements, blah, 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 blah. But Labour Party's done nothing. Nicola Sturgeon, on the other hand, SNP, which is in Scotland. I'll continue to show what she said, but she's stood up for trans people.
And the country that I am privileged to lead. They're also the principles and values that I want to underpin the independent Scotland I've spent my whole life campaigning for. I don't support that as an end in itself, but as a means to a better, fairer, more just Scotland. Now, some will criticise this message, say it doesn't go far enough, or that the words are hollow unless we prove we mean them. I'm determined we will. No doubt others will accuse me of being woke. I don't care. Sometimes, particularly as a leader, it's vital to speak up for what is right and against injustice. That is why I'm posting this message, and I'm grateful to you for listening.
So, yeah, I thought that was pretty pretty, especially considering here in the UK how very little any of the political parties are actually doing anything. In response, she accused party bosses, this is Joanna Cherry, of Stalinism after she was given 30 minutes notice of her removal from the position. Blackford said it was part of a reshuffle to draw on the new talent and ensure that SNP has the best possible team in Westminster as Scotland faces the challenges of COVID-19 and Brexit. But Cherry wrote in the New Statesman, "The reason for my sacking were not made clear, but I was not surprised. For some time, a small but vocal cohort of my SNP colleagues has engaged in performative histrionics redolent of the Salem witch trials." The Salem witch trials. She was burned at the stake, apparently. Burned at the stake. No. They didn't take the bench and turn it into tinder. Kindling. No, they just removed her from the front bench. And apparently that is Stalinism and Stalinism plus the Salem witch trials. The question, do you believe or have you ever believed that women are adult human females, is one I must answer with the affirmative. But it's not a response that is popular with some who have the ear of the leadership. I will say what they don't MMLB in the chat says, how far does your head need to be up your behind to think those are appropriate analogies to being fired? Well, the thing is, there's no context for this. This is the political atmosphere. She'll pay no price for this other than what she's already paid. And this is, to me, this is somebody that has so much privilege. They just sit there, and this is her kicking her feet up and down, saying she can't believe they had the audacity to get rid of her on the front bench. She's not out of the SNP. She's still an MP. She just is not on the front bench. I found myself fending off press bids to comment on the planned appearances of Peter Murrell and Alex Salmon at the Holyrood inquiry into the Scottish government handling of complaints against Alex. I declined. Alex is well able to look after himself, and the truth about a habit of coming out eventually. The truth has a habit of coming out eventually. Cherry, who came out as a lesbian in the 1980s, said she was campaigning against Section 28 when the SNP were undecided about it. She's talking about so it's particularly galling to be misrepresented by those who have come late to the field of battle for equality. Well, equality for who? The rift over gender issues in the party came to a head 2 weeks ago when Cherry came to the defense of a gender-critical activist suspended from Twitter. Sarah Fillmore was suspended from the social media platform for violating its rules against hateful conduct. The MP said Twitter had overreached, saying the moderation policies were a violation of free speech and your hateful conduct does not protect women. But that defense upset members of Out for Independence, the LGBT plus wing of the SNP, who criticized Cherry for offering Fillmore her support. As an inclusive intersectional organization, we condemn the support given to Sarah Fillmore today by the SNP MP, they wrote. Fillmore's anti-Semitism and transphobia are not part of the Scotland we want to see. Bigotry in all forms must be opposed. Cherry replied to the tweet, labeling it grossly defamatory. She added, I've reported it to the party's national secretary, and he has promised me to take urgent action. Apparently, they did take urgent action. Your attacks on a prominent party representative who is also a lesbian are disgraceful. So yeah. And when you listen back to what Nicola Sturgeon said, a number of high-profile trans activists resigned from the SNP recently, partly because of the Cherry row, and partly because of reforms of the hate crime bill. That led Nicola Sturgeon to taking to Twitter to promise transphobia would be met with zero tolerance. Yesterday, a number of members left the SNP because they do not feel that the party is a safe, tolerant place for trans people. We are sorry that we let you down, and today we pledge ourselves to change. The SNP does not and will not tolerate transphobia. That's awesome. That's awesome, but it Adam Rainstoffer says, I am late, utterly missing context, but hearing woke in that accent. Yeah. MMLB in the chat says, being canceled is a career move at this point. It always has been. It always has been. I mean, literally, ContraPoints has made a living on being canceled. She still makes videos, but a lot more people see her now. And just about everybody, I mean, Julie Bindel is always saying that she's been canceled. She's been canceled. She says this on places like, The Telegraph, The Observer, all these media outlets, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? So anyways, yeah, Joanna Cherry, special kind of special. So yeah, moving on, I wanted to talk about actually I want to bring up a tweet. So this is Mike Huckabee on Neera Tanden, who was a pick for the Office of Management and Budget for Biden.
Biden's talking about unity. So he brings in this woman who, listen, she wants to go higher taxes. She wants to do extreme measures when it comes to climate change. She's also punched somebody, a liberal journalist, and it doesn't seem like both sides of the aisle are very happy with her nomination. Your thoughts on Neera Tanden, Governor?
Well, first of all, Trace, it's interesting. You know, she didn't get nearly in as much trouble for physically punching a liberal journalist as the president has gotten just for responding back in kind when they yell and scream at him. That tells you something. But she has managed to hack off pretty much everybody. A lot of the progressives don't like her because she's essentially a wholly owned subsidiary of big corporations. But a lot of other people don't like her because her extreme positions on economic issues, wanting higher taxes, wanting America to kind of take a backseat in the world and sign up for everything from the Paris climate accords that put us in a very tough position. Those are just some of the things that make her, let's just say, less than overwhelmingly popular, even in her own party.
Yeah, punching liberals, insulting conservatives, and yet Bill Kristol thinks she is the perfect fit. He said the following, quoting here, serious conservatives, responsible moderates, and hard-headed liberals should want a tough-minded OMB head. OMB is where cabinet secretaries, ill-considered projects go to die.
I never thought I would agree with Mike Huckabee here about Bill Kristol, but
where programs are evaluated, where trade-offs are made. Neera Tanden is the right person for the job. Your thoughts on that, Governor?
Well, you know, Bill Kristol has so disgraced himself as a voice and a commentator that, I mean, his credibility is somewhat like asking Jeremy Dahmer to give you dietary advice. So I don't know that that's a real ringing compliment that he is singing her praises. The fact is, she would be a classic liberal, kind of what we would expect from the Biden administration. But it's going to be economic policies that will hurt a lot of working people in this country, but it will be great for the globalist. So if people want to go back to a time when Americans were losing jobs to China, to Mexico, to Canada, to Vietnam, and other countries of the world, they're going to love Neera Tanden. She will be just what the doctor ordered.
And because she has annoyed both sides, you had the GOP Senator John Thune said the following here. He says, I would hope that they would consult, speaking about Joe Biden, with us so that if they send somebody up here, it's somebody that we can get confirmed. Should Joe Biden have consulted with Republican senators before picking Neera Tanden?
You know, I mean, it could be argued that it would be a nice thing to do, but it's not typical. I mean, we have to be honest and say that Republicans who get elected president don't generally go over and ask Chuck Schumer what he thinks because they already know without asking. I think Republicans have to somewhat allow the president, whoever it is, to pick his or her choice for various positions. But they also have an advise and consent rule and role. And in that particular function, they should ask some really tough questions to make that president who does the appointment really sure that that person is who he or she wants on the team.
I want to get your final thoughts on the infighting in the Democratic Party. I want to put this.
I don't really care about that, so or we'll just leave that there. But so Mike Huckabee doesn't like her, but I wanna put this up on here. This is a tweet from a liberal journalist. I once asked a progressive journalist I'd met not to tweet nasty things about Neera Tanden. This is the response I got. Jeremy, I didn't recognize your name when we tweeted, and I've deleted both my retweet and my response. That said, you were incredibly condescending when you said you're better than this. Please consider that it is my best self responding to Tanden, who opposes Medicare for all, who has mocked climate activists who cited the agreed upon deadlines for radically transforming the carbon-based economy. Deadlines she failed to recognize as such because she's ill-informed on the issue, who advised Clinton on a disastrous campaign that lost to the world's biggest, most corrupt dipshit, who outed a sexual harassment victim during an all-hands meeting at the Center for American Progress, and who, as you do in your email, shifts literally all the blame to outside parties, guilty as they may be. They don't account for Clinton's lack of attention to key states or to the overall Democratic policy of wooing conservative white suburban voters instead of working class of all colors. You continue to condescend to me in your email, in fact, saying it's beneath me to attack a person who gets paid $400,000 a year, enough to buy and sell me and my entire family several times over for her direct role in the mess we are currently in. Moreover, she's tried to get comrades of mine fired from their jobs and succeeded. If I'm next on the list, I'll do better next time, I guess. I'd prefer not to speak with you again about this. Now, number one, he doesn't name the person. And number two, all this is money. It's right on the money. It's right on the fucking money. The reality is that she did make these comments about Medicare for all, and this is standard. The Center for American Progress is a rehashed version of the DLC, the Democratic Leadership Council. It was the Blue Dog Democrat organization that ran the Democratic Party during the era of Bill Clinton. And it's still the same people. It's still the same kind of people. They're Blue Dog Democrats, they're conservative Democrats, and they're pro-business Democrats. And they are the people that wanted Hillary Clinton in. And what is amazing in this is the responses. If you read it, and I'm not going to go through them all, but basically people are saying, but she won by 3 million votes. And I'm just like, no, she lost. She lost. It's tiresome. It's tiresome. But yeah, I mean, this is the kind of people that Biden. No, I'm not surprised. But this is these are the kind of people that are the moderates that are trying to. I mean, Bernie Sanders. I'm not a fan of Bernie Sanders, but he had the policies that people believed in. If he would have actually led his campaign by trying to go after the people that he should have instead of the people he wanted to, white Rust Belt voters, then he probably would have beaten Hillary Clinton. But no. And he did this. He did the same thing in the last round, which I wasn't surprised by. But again, it's somebody that's a career politician. This is the kind of people that are going to be in the Biden administration, and you're going to literally have Melby in the chat says, I wish that Democrats were as progressive as the GOP claims they are. God, I do too. I mean, they talk about them like they're anarchists. That's what I want. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. But something that I wanted to point out. So if you look back, let's see if we can do this live again. Support. Sorry about that. Support presidential polling 2009 January Bush. Let's see what this says. Approval ratings. George W. Bush. 2009. He's got 49%. And his low point was 25%. But January, when he left office, he had a 34% approval rating. George W. Bush, the president that tanked the world economy, that took us into that took America into 2 wars. 34%. Now, there's a reason why I brought this up. Those people, those 34%, I almost guarantee you they're all white. Males, probably. Republican men. Here we go. Check this out. A scary survey finds that 4 in 10 Republicans say that political violence may be necessary. So basically, those that 40% hasn't changed. Those are the people. That's my opinion. These people haven't changed. These are the same people that it's funny, Adam says Biden gave a teary-eyed eulogy for either Jesse Helms or Strom Thurmond. I think it was Strom Thurmond. But actually, I want to see. I want to see if I have. I follow someone on TikTok.
Right. Let's do.
I want to see if I can find them.
And
he posts so much.
What's that? It's a reboot button. A reboot.
Oh, here we go. I want to bring this guy's page up so you guys can see it. I wasn't going to play this, but this guy is right on the money when it comes to Biden. He also talks about pot a lot, which is pretty funny.
Yes, but you know what? I found something even better. See, yeah. Dave Chappelle said something.
No, we're not going there.
You know why academia pisses me off?
No, we're not going there.
You're not going to like what I have to say, but that's okay. I'm not really a fan of Biden either.
Oh, I definitely don't like what you have to say, but not because it's true. It's because, it's the same garbage MSNBC narrative that someone like me has been hearing the last 20 years. And I also want you to know that I am severely starting to hate folks like you. The folks that say they're on your side, but when you say, hey, you voted for a 47-year career segregationist rapist, their response is, but Trump has raped more. And you can say Joe Biden is lesser evil because it's evil that you no longer have to worry about hitting your doorstep, right? You could say Joe Biden is harm reduction because the harm isn't going to affect your community, right? You voted for a segregationist rapist and now is arguing with a man who's been affected by his policies that he's lesser evil. Let that sink in. No, it's the fact that I've been doing this much longer and going at it a lot harder than you clowns who comment shit like this under my content. It's because I actually put my money where my mouth is. It's because when I talk about this shit, I'm not afraid of being seen. All
right, man, prove it. Prove that Biden is a rapist. Prove it wasn't just an allegation. Prove that.
Nah.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that? This is what liberals do? Literally, you need to prove. Like, there has been allegations by someone. Do you believe Brett Kavanaugh? Do we have to prove that? Were you sitting there saying, we have to prove that Brett Kavanaugh was a rapist? We have to prove it. It's unbelievable.
I don't play that game anymore. When a white person tells me to prove something, having pretty much the same access to the same information that I have, I think the only difference between them and me is I have the actual fucking lived experience, and they're just reading articles. You exactly what I talk about all right, everybody, listen. This Mexican brought up the Lincoln Project and said they liked them. This Mexican said racism works both ways, and this Mexican just commented this. But I also want to state that this Mexican is on record earlier for telling someone else you sound like a Trump supporter.
I did, and that's why you're backing down. Because if you did your own research,
See, that's your privilege talking, because you think me refusing to prove to you that Joe Biden is a segregationist rapist for 47 years is me backing down. No, it's me not playing that game.
That's just history. That's just fact. I mean, all you have to do is look at what Adam pointed to. Biden given a teary-eyed eulogy for one of the most famous racists in the U.S. Senate. I cannot argue with the black man that's telling me that he was a segregationist or a woman that he was a rapist or alleged, because it's been alleged.
That game with silly white leftists who are more white than actual leftists. And it's funny because you said you didn't watch MSNBC, but you are now using all of the talking points that MSNBC used when questioned about Biden's segregationism, when questioned about Tara Reade.
When questioned about Tara Reade, when questioned about busing, when questioned about Anita Hill. I mean, you can go down the line. I mean, I do disagree with this guy, because I think you have to support Biden after the primaries. But that being said, all the stuff that he's saying is true.
Like, it's amazing at this point that someone like you with Black Lives Matter on their profile is literally taking the prove Biden is a segregationist approach.
It's even worse that she's saying prove that he's a
Okay, your anecdotal evidence should be.
When I hear white people ask questions or make statements like prove Joe Biden is a segregationist, it's no different from the white people that say prove Trump is a racist. And you know what they'll usually say is they'll say, oh, he's done more for the African American community. You'll say, oh, the Black Caucus voted for the crime bill, so prove it was racist and not applied racially. Like, you're no different. You really aren't. Just different aesthetics. Like, if you are a black person.
Yeah, and that is spot on. Spot on. It's just a team. It's just a team another team that you're on. You're just on the other side of it. You're doing the same shit. You're part of the same problem. M.A. Melby in the chat makes a perfect point. You don't ask someone to prove something, to claim something when you're the one making the claim. And the funny thing is, all you need is Google to know all these things about Biden. Biden is barely better than Trump, but he is better than Trump, but barely. And it really is. It's tiresome when people try to say that it's not. Anyways. Oh, I have another video for you guys. I think I have another video for you guys. Oh. I wanted to talk about ACAB. ACAB. I'm kind of pissed, actually. So then there's this.
Just wanted to remind you about the upcoming Antifa meeting.
Do y'all remember this video?
Let's see if I can zoom this.
And you vote for a segregationist. How can you then
The
say
police
you value
brutality
your
and
life?
racial justice.
Oh shit! I don't know what I just did.
Honestly.
Hold on.
What black person is going to put their trust and support behind a segregationist, an unrepentant one.
Ah.
All this, he showed accountability by apologizing. That ain't shit. That's not accountability. Those are words.
I believe you. I agree
So-
with you. Let's watch this video. Let's go back.
Do y'all remember this video? At the police brutality and racial justice protests last year, that 75-year-old man was pushed to the ground by police, where he hit his head and bled from his fucking ears. 2 officers charged second-degree felony assault. Can you tell where this is going? Assault charges dropped yesterday. Yeah, that's where it went. Grand jury voted to dismiss the charges even though they were on camera assaulting that citizen. Just to put more salt in the wounds, the district attorney decided to blame the victim. He said he committed a crime that day. He violated curfew. Does this mean that all cops can just assault you?
And yeah, so essentially what he's saying is that if you commit the crime of breaking curfew, that you should be assaulted for it. The cops have the right to assault you.
When you commit petty crimes. Now it's openly accepted by the police departments that they can just crack skulls when they feel like it. This is why we say ACAB when you say a few bad apples, because the system isn't set up to protect you. It's for them.
Just wanted to remind you about the upcoming Antifa meeting.
And that is the truth. The reality of all this is that it is the system that's corrupt. It's a system. That's not a few bad apples. Anyways. Oh God. I am tired after all this. I am very tired. All this stuff makes me literally just tiresome. It's tiresome. It gets tiring. When this is the political reality of the day. When you have to argue about ACAB and you have to argue about these things that are blatantly obvious. Anyways, thank y'all coming tonight. I'm gonna hang out for about another 10 minutes if I don't think of anything else that I want to share with you guys. I do want to go back to the chat. Some random geek says the GOP always threaten us with a good time. And MMLB says, I wish Antifa were as powerful as they claim. I mean, it's the future liberals want. Well, I would probably still be a Democrat if, well, I do vote Democrat, but politically, I'm an anarchist, and I probably would still be a Democrat if they were as left as the right says they are. BLM is led by Marxists. Some random geek says. I'm not sure if that's true, but it is always if true. Well, I want it to be true. And MMLB says socialists are taking over the Democratic Party. I do think slowly but surely you are going to have a takeover of the Democratic Party by Democratic Socialists, but I think that's going to take time. Some random geek said I unfriended someone this summer because they said all presidential candidates have allegations of sexual assault or rape against them. Well, Obama didn't. That's all I can say. And the thing is, I mean, to me, people talk about Biden and him. Anybody that will disagree with what that guy's saying from TikTok about Biden. I mean, I want what he's saying to not be true, but it is true. Biden has a long history, as some random geek says, in the Senate, and it's full of racism, it's full of bigotry, it's full of a lot of ugly fucking things. And you know, it's not, I mean, literally, people want to talk about this is what pisses me off, okay? Let's go video. MSNBC. Creepy Biden. This is Joe Biden.
For just $67, you can make as many
as documented by MSNBC. This isn't documented by Fox News.
Why don't you kiss me? Thank you. I don't have a doubt about it. God love you. I know you say you don't want me to sport. Thank you all for your patience. Bring the whole family up. Come on. Come on. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. No, aren't you? Hey, Sally, how are you? You got a smile that lights up the whole Senate chamber. Good to see you. You're getting too old. You're getting too old and too lovely.
Look at this. What? Are you a senior, a junior, 17? Look at where his hands are.
What are you, a senior?
A junior.
Like a junior.
Oh,
This is my daughter-in-law.
Hi, Kelly. How are you? Hi, Jack. You have very good taste. Good to see
You have very good taste. He's literally commenting on a man and his taste in women. The girl that's right next to him, who appears to be a minor or very young. This is it.
man, you have good taste. Well, I'll tell you what, you've got very good taste, like your father.
This is the same girl. He's literally flirting with her in front of him.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I have very good taste.
See? This isn't a one-off.
Great to see you. I have very good taste. Come on, it's going to hurt your reputation, man. You're going to have to go home and explain, what would I do with that Democrat? Kids, come on over and vote, okay? You ready?
Thank you so much.
Now, you getting in this picture?
I still hold five.
Look at where his hands are. Look at where his hands are.
Good. And again, please look right here.
So tell me about you.
His wife, Holly.
Hi, Holly. How are you? Now, Holly.
This is how you hold someone that you know well.
Keep the boys away from your sister. That's the job.
Keep the boys away from your sister. That's your job.
My dad just said one job. Keep the guys away from your sister.
Yeah, because she's a product. And you need to keep the product away from those nasty boys. Jamie Gay in the chat.
My dad used to say, you got one job. I have a beautiful sister like you guys. I swear to God, he used to say, you have one job. Keep the guys away from your sister. You're in trouble. Okay, come on, everybody slide in here.
Yeah. So, you know, it's pretty easy for people to make comments about this guy being creepy. Oh dear. Oh fucking dear. Adam Rainstopper in the chat said the video of George Floyd was horrifying, but they never kneeled on my neck. This one though, a literal trigger. Every time my head hit the concrete, I thought I was done. Once you know, you know. Did you know that Biden was a piece of shit? Yeah, that's a really difficult one to know. But yeah, so it just, when people sit there and say that Biden is okay, that Biden's, prove to me that he's horrible. Well, you can. It doesn't take a rocket science. It doesn't take somebody very long to prove it. Somebody just posted on Twitter that Trump has not been found guilty of his impeachment charge. However, read the 14th Amendment. Trump has clearly been found guilty on incitement of insurrection, which bars him from ever holding office again. That would be interesting to see. I think the biggest reason that Republicans went soft on impeaching Trump was that he still has political power. He still has political and people would be primaried. People would lose elections if they did that. It's all about keeping power at the end of the day. I did want to say something. I am going to end the show here shortly. We're going on an hour and a half. No, I don't want to stop the show. Actually, I'm feeling pretty good, but this is all I got. By the way, one of the biggest things, and I said this on a previous show, but I do want to say it to the people here, in case you weren't here. As a trans advocate, as someone that did a lot of lobbying, did a lot of activist type organizing, the biggest thing that you can do if you want to change things is change the people around you, the people that you love. Connect with them. If you're trans especially, get involved with mutual aid. One way to do that is to go to charitylinks.page. It's a page my friend Jonathan runs that has links to where you can help people that need help, basic help, living help, just getting from day to day. That is always something, that is always a good thing to do. Go to charitylinks.page for links to help others with mutual aid. Jamie in the chat says, find the comfortable middle ground between focusing primarily on murdering black and brown people at home and focusing on murdering black and brown people abroad. And honestly, that is true. The sad thing is what's going to end up happening is the same thing that happened during Obama. You're going to get, even if you don't have Trump, you're going to have somebody like him. You're going to have a Boebert or a Green or somebody like him in the presidency in 4 years. If there isn't substantial change, it's going to have to happen. But what you're probably going to see is a continuation of what happened during Obama. I mean, he's already electing the same type of people to his. The only upside is that the person that's in the Senate that's the head of finance is Bernie Sanders, but that isn't so much. That's the party more than it is the president. So, anyways, I just want to say,
Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when we go live.
anyways, y'all, thank you for coming tonight. I did want to say that tomorrow I will shortly be joining the gang at Social Justice Alchemy. I'll be listening. I got to work night shift. So I have to go in. But I'll listen for an hour. Probably more. But join me tomorrow for Social Justice Alchemy. I'm sure Jonathan will put a link into the chat. Yeah. Social Justice Alchemy tomorrow night at 7. I want to make up like a silly radio radio comedy bit about you'll find Jamie J and that oatmeal guy, Tom McDonald. Diabetes. You heard it here first. The ship between the Tea Party and Social Justice Alchemy is a cannon. It's something. Anyways, be there tomorrow, and I'm gonna try on Monday to have a game night. It's the one thing right now that I'm kind of iffy on, just because I've been tired, been sick. But I will continue to have this show on Wednesday and Saturday because I love doing it, and I love getting the feedback from you guys. I love you all being here. Did I just fuck up? I think I may have. Anyways. Sorry. By the way, if you want any of the links, if you want to help, thank you, MAMLB in the chat. I am feeling better, just still dealing with a lot of fatigue. But if you want to help financially support the show like my one patron, Jonathan, does, you can go to teaparty.com. teapartypodcast.com and you can find all the links: Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Adam Rainstopper says, if you know someone who sleeps in the cold, take them in. If you know someone who's locked up, write them. That's the thing. It's evidently going to be email now, but whatever. If someone is hungry, feed them. Do what you can. That's what it's all about, doing what you can. Be safe to the extent that's under your control. That is so true. Do what we can to help each other, be there for each other, And fuck the patriarchy. Anyways, I am going to stay here for about, like I said, about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to boogie on out of here. But thank y'all for being here. I will see you on Monday playing Fallout 76. Playing it very badly.